I was born in 1941. This car is as old as I am. And it's been in my family since I was born. And as a little boy, whenever we had a beach house down at Newport Beach, and we would always borrow my grandmother's car to go to the beach because it had more, the station wagon had space for our, all of our family and everything.
Yeah.
And we would go down to our beach house and spend the summer, and we would always go in this car. And I can remember sitting in there with my sister and in the second seat in this thing, and going to the beach, and we always had this game, who's the first one to see the water and all this kind of stuff. And I remember this, my memories of this car are so sweet. And then my grandmother died, and my uncle, who was her son, took the car, and it was in San Francisco. And my wife and I were dating all through college. I would go down, I went to Oregon, she went to Berkeley, and I would come down to San Francisco, and this was the car that she and I would use. My grandfather, or my uncle would give it to me to drive around when I was down in San Francisco. And so we were, I remember trying to get it up Nob Hill, and it was, the radiator was smoking, and it was like, because it's an old car. But we drove it all around San Francisco, and I told my uncle, I said, North, when you get ready to sell this car, you gotta give it to me, because I just want this car so bad, And so he called me one day and he said, I'm ready to part with it, it's just been in storage. And so we trucked it down, and he made me promise I would never sell it because it was my grandmother's car, and I didn't, of course I would never sell it anyway,
Now this car looks like it has a story behind it.
How do you know that? You
just
talk to me, that's what.
I have a feeling.
Okay, I'll tell you, it does. It has a great story.
Okay.
To begin with, this car has a name. Now, a lot of cars don't have names.
Really?
This car's name is Gladys.
Okay.
Gladys is the car. And the reason this car is named Gladys is there was a woman who was and actually I've talked to people who were around in 1941 who remember this woman. She was a famous opera singer named Gladys, and I can't think of her last name. I think I've got it written down somewhere, but she was in New York at the Metropolitan Opera. And she was very Zoftic and very, and she came to Warner Brothers to make a movie for Jack Warner in 1941. And she came out here and she bought this car to be her California car.
A Woody.
A Woody. And
which is a perfect
California car.
Yeah.
And she bought this car, and she made one movie for Warner Brothers and hated it out here because she was a New Yorker and she just couldn't take California. Interesting story about this car. It was an ambulance during World War II.
This one was?
This was an ambulance here in the United States.
Holy cow.
My grandmother was in the Red Cross. She was a big kind of local executive with the Red Cross, and so this car had been fitted as an ambulance in case we ever got hit by Japanese bombers or something. This would have been, running around. I mean, this thing has got hundreds of thousands of miles on it. I mean, it was a working car,
Right.
We worked, it was in my, so yeah, I haven't changed engines on it, but my uncle put this Merc in. And I think the second engine that was in it was a Merc, and the first one obviously was a Ford.
Well, because of the history, I think this is my favorite car thus far. Steve, thanks a lot for
right.
letting us check it out. And for more classic cars, make sure to hit up rpmfreaks.com. I'm Brian Corsetti. I'll see you next time.